one thing.
Thank you.
Okay. Pick somebody that you like and put your mind on. He likes you.
I passed.
Let's see if he likes you after your question.
Maharaj, in the example that you mentioned about the tree.
About the which?
About the tree and the axe that the spiritual master is to cut.
The seed?
No, tree and the axe.
Tree. Okay.
And similar example, which is in Bhagavad Gita with the banyan tree, which is upside down.
Yes.
What does it mean that it's upside down?
It's a reflection. That's what it means.
So the reflection is
Let's go to a lake and look on the opposite side of the lake and see a tree. And then we'll look in the lake and see it upside down. The roots are growing down. Excuse me, the branches are growing down and the roots are growing up. That's upside down. Then there's the tree with the branches growing up and the roots growing down. So this world is compared to that. It's a reflection of the spiritual world. Okay? The material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. It looks like, but it isn't. It's a reflection. And what's not to be done is taken as what's to be done. And what's to be done is taken as not to be done. It's ignorance. Knowledge and the mode of ignorance. That's the material world. And happiness is the mode of ignorance and everything else. It's an influence of the covering of the real thing. A reflection of the real thing. Okay?
So the reflection doesn't mean that it has a merit of itself.
No. To think that it has a merit unto itself. The Supreme Personality of Godhead says to Lord Brahma, know that to be my illusory energy. It exists, but not unto itself.
Maharaj, seminars such as these, and when we hear or when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, like I understand that the focus has to be internal cultivation, but the tendency is
by attending seminars like this and practicing, taking it home and practicing, and with your, in your heart, in your life, with your family and with your friends, and you remind each other and you practice and cultivate. Exactly what the Dev says. Receive the knowledge and then cultivate it, expand it. That's how. Because the conditioned tendency and then the spiritual reality. And we move to the spiritual reality. And then it'll come out. But let it come from the inside out, not just paint it on. And it'll wash off. Let it be inside. Practice, cultivate. Continue hearing. Practice and cultivate. Keep doing that. Sincerely. Sincerely. With sincere devotees that want to do the same. Yeah.
One more question.
Sure.
So, one of the slides I read that association and hearing, I think association means hearing, something like that. How do we hear from each other when we are...
I'll read the sentence again so that you can get it explicitly. It's the last sentence in the purport of text 27. hearing or associating with devotees is the most important function for self-realization. That's the one. And now the question is?
So I understand hearing as in hearing lectures and attending seminars like that. How do we hear from each other?
Oh, you hear from each other all the time. As soon as we stop class.
So is it like just discuss what you heard?
Yes.
That is an aspect of cultivation.
Yes, exactly. And then apply it and discuss what your experience is in trying to apply it. Because you have the same project. Go back to Gaya. And we're part of a team going back to Gaya together. We talk with our team members how we're doing our part of going back to Gaya. Take that thing that from the corporate sector and apply it in your devotional life. And then that's the best friend, the one who you do that with. You're being the best friend for them by doing that. Go ahead.
Maharaj, I have a question about disciplic succession. So like on the altar we have Srila Prabhupada's picture, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then right now we don't have, but we sometimes also have Jagannath Das Babaji.
Yeah.
So I know that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was disciple of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, and he was disciple of Jagannath Das Babaji, or his great.
He's a Babaji disciple.
Gaur Kishore Das Babaji?
Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, my understanding is, he was a Babaji, he took Babaji from Jagannath Das Babaji. But he heard from Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
He heard from?
Yes, it was a Shiksha relationship.
Okay, so he's a Shiksha Guru, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a Shiksha Guru, and so that can come in the disciplic succession?
Yes. This disciplic succession that we see in pictures is described in Bhaktisiddhanta's writings, and he accepted like that. And we're following Bhaktisiddhanta and Srila Prabhupada who accepted like that. He had a Diksha Guru, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. But he heard from Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Yes, so both Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru are there in the disciplic succession then?
In some cases, yes. She's digesting. Here's another. In the disciplic succession that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur presents, it's the principal, primary, most significant acharyas, meaning that there's, you go from Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and you look into the disciplic succession and there's actually several generations not named, not missing, but just not named because it's primary. So the vision and teachings of Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktivinoda Thakur were received not from Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, but from Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, but his Diksha Guru was somebody else. Should I say it again? The Diksha Guru of Jagannath Das Babaji was Bipin Bihari Goswami. So he was initiated into disciplic succession, but our disciplic succession shows Jagannath Das Babaji. And even somewhere in that time frame is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He's not pictured or named in our disciplic succession, although he's certainly very significant. But there's this relationship of instruction that the Bhaktivinoda Thakur received instruction, invited Jagannath Das Babaji when he discovered the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come and confirm And he came all the way from Vrindavan and confirmed. So there's a relationship, not just an existing personality into cyclic succession.
So when you talk about this unbroken chain of the cyclic succession going all the way to Lord Krishna, it does not have to be through the Diksha ceremony, but
it's yes and no. They were all initiated into cyclic succession. They were initiated into cyclic succession. All of them. But the principal relationship may or may not be identified according to the Diksha line. And the examples you've already indicated, 2 of them. And actually 3 of them, preceding Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Look into the cyclic line. There are some generations that are not named, although there was initiation in that line. So there's... Thank Esther, pass the microphone. Someone? Yes?
Well, in one of the verses, we read that if the spiritual master is kind enough, then even an unintelligent disciple can make progress. So I wanted to know, what does a spiritual master do when he knows that somebody has
not very intelligent.
Yeah, and they've done something really bad and the consciousness is corrupt. So what does a spiritual master do and what actions should the student take?
Depends on the circumstance, what the spiritual master will do, how they regard that. It's certainly not judgmental. The essence is what can be done to elevate. And it depends on the circumstance. Something else? Over here? Oh, you have something, okay?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I didn't mean to argue, maybe I'm wrong or something.
Go ahead and argue.
What I really mean to say is, like on this Tuesday only, I think I heard in Harivilas Prabhu's class that all the disciplic succession which is mentioned in the first, second, third page of Bhagavad Gita, those are all Shiksha Gurus.
I don't know if he said that. But I know that they're not all Shiksha Gurus. Well, let's say this way. In some cases, the Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru are the same. How does that work for you? Is that all right?
Could you elaborate more on how one can increase the quality without necessarily increasing the quantity of devotion?
Yes. Purity. Becoming attracted to one-word answers. By purity, quality increases. Chant your rounds without offense, for example, and you've increased your devotional service exponentially, because not only your connection with Krishna through chanting, which is devotional service, has increased in quality, but when you interact with whoever you interact with, start with your husband or whoever else you interact with, that service to your husband and whoever else you interact with will be magnified by just from this quantitative to qualitative increase, etc. So by striving for purity or attaining some quantum further of purity, you've increased your devotional service without adding anything quantitatively.
But that cannot happen magically, right, Maharaj? So what one has to do to...
You strive for it. The means is given. Take it. That's how the internal cultivation topic. So it doesn't need something quantitative external, it's qualitative internal. And then it will increase. Krishna will give you more service just happens that way. Someone else? We're at 11:35, so we'll just take a few more questions and end.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Over the last few days, you have been very nicely explaining towards these wonderful verses of Sadhu-Sangastaka. My question is, should we strive to consciously cultivate these qualities of a sadhu?
Yes.
Or should we just associate with sadhus?
No. Not just, but yes to the first one. And the mood should be, what should the mood be? In my association, let me come before these personalities who I regard with great appreciation and esteem and gratitude, that my service to them be more pleasing. That's the horse that pulls the cart, not the other way around. The cart doesn't pull the horse. If I develop these qualities, then I'll be more appreciated or something. That their happiness and satisfaction. Read the last verses of chapter 12 sometime today, where this quality, that quality, this is very pleasing to me, that quality, very pleasing to me, that quality, very pleasing to me. So the message is, be pleasing to Krishna. Krishna kindly help me develop this quality that's pleasing to you, so that I can be more pleasing to you, because that's the objective. And same with sadhus.
I should be doing both parallel, right? Like when I associate.
But not exactly parallel. It's the horse pulls the cart, not they move parallel. If I understand your question properly, first things first, and the first thing pulls the other things. It's like Krishna Ekasharana, and then there's the Chaitashta Bhakti characteristics. So do we just surrender and don't think about, are we doing the other things? Because we're surrendering, we're thinking about doing the other things. And then Krishna decorates doing the other things. That's bhushana, ornaments. Krishna decorates his devotee with nice qualities. But what's the horse, what's pulling that decoration is, I want to please Krishna. I want to please Krishna's devotees. So instead of something, speaking harshly or rudely or dangerously or something or other, because I want to please, in service. Please cultivate.
Yeah, because Maharaj, earlier in the previous session you were telling, in order to become sincere, we should associate with devotees who are sincere. So I was thinking, in order to even cultivate those qualities of a sadhu, we should, when we associate with sadhus, then we naturally can imbibe those qualities.
Yes, but it's not passive. I also said that. It's active. So what do? We cultivate. The language is right in the, you hear and then you cultivate. It's right in the language of Bhagavatam. Okay. Up front here, give men some chance to speak.
One of the things which I have been thinking sometimes is a blocker for me is being, and I hear from devotees who are pretty good at that, just being at work and just the pressures of work, etc. I get disturbed or anxious, and that kind of thing can, with deadlines or things, etc. And that can lead as a blocker to constant cultivation of devotional service.
Sure.
And I hear from devotees who are able to do that much better. That's also, people say, oh, you're not disturbed by things. But I myself have faced difficulties with that. I just wanted to see if we could seek any guidance from you about.
Peter Burwash, you know who Peter Burwash is? One of his slides is, it's a mundane example of a tennis player. Somebody said, you know, pressure is the honor that comes to those who are successful. So, supposing you were a slouch, you know, you wouldn't feel any pressure. You wouldn't be given a situation that produces pressure. So, for a devotee, here comes the pressure. And you know, whether it's in the workplace or whatever it is, that out of the workplace, or something, some situation, some service, there's some pressure. Now, how do you look at that? Part of it is what's inside, the internal cultivation part. Krishna, you're my strength. You are the ability of man. And let me apply myself to be qualified to receive your ability. Here's one example. Somebody is in the corporate sector. They were not just a consultant, they were a full employee of some corporate place. And they ran into a problem and they needed a solution to the problem, so they called their specialist to solve the problem. If there wasn't a solution, they kept working on things, and it wasn't clear what the solution was. And that devotee decided, let me just very sincerely and intently and fervently pray to Krishna in your service, because he knows that I'm a devotee of Krishna. Not so I'll get some points, but so Krishna will get some points. He'll appreciate, oh, look at this. He's a Krishna devotee, and he can do these amazing things. So for that reason, he was saying, I was praying very sincerely. Over a period of time, it didn't happen right away. But then something happened. Somebody that he knew who was also, experienced in the field in some other area, and the person said something, and it just clicked. And he understood Krishna. And it took, they explained that to the person, the company owner, or the supervisor, whatever it was. And I want to go down this path and work it out, the problem is solved. We got all this accolades, and he was thinking, all glories to Krishna. Because now this person has a deeper respect for Krishna. Because Krishna supplied something because of being an instrument for Krishna. So though the field was something material, it was for Krishna that he was doing. So, how to apply that in different circumstances. Each life has its challenges. Hey, pick your challenge, but life has its challenges. So the wellspring of not feeling pressure, or feel rather the other way around, feel support, is the Krishna bhakti that you carry in your heart. And that's something that requires internal cultivation. And then the application is, how do I work for Krishna? In the home, in the workplace, in the temple. It's not just go wash the pots, it's how do I keep the consciousness of doing this, whatever it is, for Krishna. It's a cultivation. And therein lies the answer to your question. It's an internal, and then you apply it, the external world. Krishna consciousness is best nourished by the process of hearing in the association of sadhus. But the work is the application part. I'll give another example. It's a little different, but it relates. One devotee expressed, the part that I get is the sadhana part. The part that I don't get is how do you do it in the workplace? In short, in a longer conversation. And I said, it's a matter of realization. So it's not a matter, I could spell it out A to Z, and you won't get it, because it's a matter of realization. So rather than give you the A to Z, I recommend that at least for some interval in your day, you check out of the kartaham iti manyate mode, that you're the doer, and check in to how do I do this for Krishna in the workplace? And that was it. And some months later, they came with a report. And the report was, their supervisor at work went through some realization because they were having some realization. They said, what's going on with you? Before, it used to take, give you something to do, and it would take you the same time it takes everybody else, about a week, and now you've got it done in less than a day. You're sitting there reading your book. And then some problem arises, and I come to you with the problem. You already have it all worked out. Here's the solution to the problem. Before we even talked about there's a problem, you got the solution to the problem. And everyone else in the workplace is backbiting and stabbing each other, and you don't do any of that. When it goes on, it doesn't disturb you. What's going on with you? Is that, I don't know if you want to hear it. No, I want to hear it. And the answer was, Krishna. No, forget it. What's wrong with you? No, that's okay, I thought you did. So, but then some time passed, and it just continued to grow. Their realization continued to grow. Their mood of working for Krishna, not for the supervisor or the owner or anything, just working for Krishna. Consciousness was being cultivated. And then something happened. Their supervisor had a calamity. They found out that the spouse had cancer. So they went to this devotee and said, I'm smashed, and you're spiritual, so I'm coming to you to hear. And that was, again, I don't know if you want to hear it. So, I want to hear it. I really need it. I'm not needy. I'm not just skeptical. Anyway, it led them to coming to the temple and seeing the deities and meeting the devotees and meeting their spiritual master. And they didn't take up devotional service, but their attitude changed from, oh, you're kidding me, you're into that, to respect and shelter, just from that one thing. Besides, they were more productive and, not harassed. They're feeling protected because of that mood, working for Krishna. So, if that's something that you struggle with, cultivate it. In moments where it's not pressure, just in principle. Or take it offline and just, in other circumstances that are not in the workplace, to cultivate doing for Krishna. And then carry that into the workplace. Borrow from that strength into the workplace where there's weakness and apply it. And cultivate it. Cultivate it. Cultivate it. That's the internal cultivation. That's what Krishna consciousness, the consciousness behind the activities, not the activity has to change. Unless it's forbidden activity. Anything? Last question.
Maharaj, there is a question online. Can I ask that?
Okay.
It's from Sara Prabhu. He says, I've heard that even demigods were lining up in the first 5,000 years of Kali Yuga to be liberated.
Where do you hear that?
Sara Prabhu, if you want to respond to that.
That's not the essence of the question. Go on to the rest of the question.
So we should be fortunate to be in this time of Kali Yuga. Somehow I feel that we missed the earlier opportunities of going back to Godhead in previous yugas, and we shouldn't be in this time of Kali Yuga. I'm more concerned about this generation and following generations where living luxurious life, showing off, and bad behaviors are considered as standard. When someone lives simple life and try to do right things, they are considered abnormal. So is it correct to say that we are fortunate to be in this time of Kali Yuga?
Yes. Next. We're fortunate not just to be in this time of Kali Yuga, we're fortunate to be recipients of the remedy.
Maharaj, in the 28th verse, purport.
28th purport.
Srila Prabhupada says, the devotional service most suitable for different types of devotees is determined and fixed by the mercy of the spiritual master. So my question is, like during Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur period, the disciples were asked to do like 64 rounds of chanting, and then Srila Prabhupada, out of mercy and due to the circumstances, I think he made it to 16 rounds minimum. So in this lineage and in future, can this go down or?
That's a loaded question, because there are persons today that were initiated by Prabhupada and have gone outside of this ISKCON who have lowered the standard. I won't go into it. That's not a strict follower. However, on the other hand, what Prabhupada did was, you say, licensed or authorized or appropriate because of his spiritual stature as an acharya. So an acharya, person of such stature, may time, place, circumstance make adjustments. So that answer is, it's conceivable. But let's first see that self-effulgent acharya of the stature of Srila Prabhupada. And then otherwise, no. I think I'll end with that because of the time maybe. Is that all right?
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada
Focus on the mind, bit more. Where? Focus on the Sadhu-Sangastaka. Okay.
So Hare Krishna, and we will resume at 6 o'clock today evening, because Sunday evening feast generally starts at 6 o'clock. So we will also broadcast live on the internet starting at 6 o'clock. Can be a few minutes of delay, but they will be kept anywhere. And again, this evening concludes the seminar on Sadhu-Sangastaka. And tomorrow morning Maharaj will give a class at my house for Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
My time is one minute, we'll just one. అది పైన ఆపేసి